Good afternoon, everyone, and I hope you're having a happy inauguration day. My name is Brandon Sutton, and I want to welcome you to the first part of the Progressive Army's inauguration coverage. We're going to try to get you through this very difficult time, but just remember, it could be worse. It could be President Fiorina. And I think we can all agree that that would have been a very, very sad day for America. So I'm joined by my producer, David Grossman, who's in the back, and my co-host and Socratic life partner, Adair Schmidt.
What's going on, guys?
Well, that one was David. I'm Adair, folks. How's everyone doing today? It is, I don't want to call it a momentous day, though I guess in some respects it is. But yeah,
it's not. It's momentous. So I know people have been in watching the news coverage surrounding the inauguration. There have been protests, as there were in recent memory 2 times. So the protest of Nixon in '68 and the protest surrounding George W. Bush in 2001. Of course, there were protests surrounding George W. Bush because of his historical loss of the popular vote. And in '68 or '69 with Nixon, rather, it was because of the Vietnam War and the fact that he was the status quo Vietnam War candidate. So the protests that are going on today are not unprecedented, but the response has been a bit aggressive by the police, to say the least.
I was going to say it's a little bit more than a bit aggressive when you're firing tear gas at peaceful protesters.
Well, I mean, it's hard for me to. It's hard for me to be aghast when I'm not surprised, right? So we know this is just how police in America operate. This is the use of concussive grenades and tear gas and overwhelming force, and the arrival of riot police before there is a riot is not.
Well, here's my question: how much does this step up underneath Trump? I mean, this is exactly who the Fraternal Order of Police wanted, and mind you, in their wish list, which they're now calling fake news because they don't like that it got out, they said within the first 100 days they wanted racial profiling to be decriminalized. They want that to be a legitimate mode of police work. They want more military grade weapons and all these other things from Trump. They want so much more freedom under Trump. And I'm going to be honest, I think the Republicans give it to them. So my question is, how much closer to the brown boots do we actually get with our police force under Trump than we were with Obama? And Obama was definitely a marked step up in police militarization and violence.
How much worse does it get? Again, I wouldn't say exponentially, right? So I think that's the question you're asking. Do I think it's going to get worse? Of course, but that's more of an issue of where things going to get worse, or things going to get worse anyway, and how much worse than what is it going to be under Obama? So remember, Obama suspended habeas corpus.
Yes.
Under President Obama, Mike Bloomberg New York City Police Department under Mayor Mike Bloomberg engaged in stop and frisk, and in 1 year they frisked more black men in New York City than lived in New York City, and this was the same Mike Bloomberg who Obama praised. So. Right. So yeah, this is primarily a clip show, folks. Sorry to interrupt that thought I was having. So we're going to be, bringing you clips from DC that are being taken by people like Anoa Changa, Benjamin Dixon, where we have the Progressive Army stationed at the various events, not the inauguration ourselves, because no one went to the inauguration. It's less well attended than I would say. I don't know. What's a good analogy for this? A 98 Degrees concert.
Wow.
In 2017.
Wow.
So this is Dan in the background here, just to rudely interrupt Brandon. This clip is on Anoa's Instagram, and the hashtag, so I'm assuming the actual name of the event, it's Disrupt J20, and this was from earlier today. This one's a short one that I did view. We have some that I haven't had the chance to actually look ahead of time, but this one is a short one, just showing the crowd that today, a lot of today's events seem to have been focused mostly on disrupting the actual inauguration events. So that was that one. I'll give it back to you guys, and I'll pull up one of our other feeds.
Well, someone, just to engage with the chat, someone in the chat asked me to explain habeas corpus. So habeas corpus, for lack of a better word, lack of a better explanation, is just due process. It's your right when you're accused or arrested, or you're accused of a crime or arrested, to be brought in front of a judge or court and have, and be basically brought in front of a judge or court.
Let's actually translate it real quick, because I think that's the easiest way. Present the body. Present give evidence of crime.
The direct translation is, you may have the body, from Latin to American, Latin to American, Latin to English.
Latin to American.
Latin to American. No, from Latin to English, the direct translation is, you may have the body. And so really it's due process under the law. It's the idea that if you are that you have to be charged with the crime when you are arrested. That crime has to be explained to you. They can't just simply arrest you without explaining the charges. Once you are arrested, you are brought in front of a judge or into the courtroom, where you are sentenced and, given the right arraignment, right to bail, etc. You are allowed to have a lawyer present. It's all those things that are guaranteed in the Constitution. And when Obama's, reauthorized the NDAA, it sort of removed a lot of those protections, for lack of a better term. So,
and I believe this is only the first time actually since the Civil War that the writ of habeas corpus was in fact no longer a guarantee under the United States law. That in and of itself is a monumentous decision that happened under Obama. I think to go back to our little bit of back and forth earlier, I think it actually might get exponentially worse under Trump because of what he's already campaigned. I mean, I haven't heard his inauguration speech, but from what I have seen of it, it was basically Americans first, and then that really then it falls under, well, what is his definition of an American? Because it's obviously not people born on American soil, which is technically all you need to be an American.
Here's what I will say. Do I think it's going to get exponentially worse? No, I don't really think it's going to be exponentially. I don't think it's going to go from 3 to 11, or 0 to 100 real quick. What I think will happen is that people's perception of it will be that it is so dramatically worse, and that things were not like this under President Obama, and they will be wrong. And so, and we've seen that in all these different arenas, right, where people are sort of lambasting Trump's education pick, where she's not so dramatically out of step with what we've seen before in terms of privatization. Again, Christian, Christian zealot, but that's not radically out of line. And so, do I think people are going to, for example, look at what's going on during these protests and how they're, and people on the left are saying, look at Trump's America, where peaceful protesters are having their head cracked open by police. It's like, okay, well, look at Obama's America, where Standing Rock protesters were having their heads,
look at Ferguson,
arms blown off by the private police force.
And then the National Guard and the regular police from 4 different states outside of North Dakota too.
And see, even fascism people are speaking of Trump's fascism as though there was no fascism under Obama, and there were more than a few examples of fascism under Obama that you can point to. And I think Standing Rock is a good example of that. This mixing of the corporate interest and the public interest into one sort of synonymous thing.
I think
so. Go into the clip.
They weren't hearing me talk to you guys, so you guys were just staring awkwardly. But so this clip is from Michael Salomon on YouTube, and it's from the Occupy Inauguration March. Occupy Inauguration is associated with Eric L. Blossom, Progressive Independent Party. They'll be holding the summit on Sunday, I believe, but this is apparently a march that they also did today. So we'll play this real quick.
Oh, hey, hey, ho, ho, Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey, thank you, good job.
You actually saw right at the end, Anoa was actually with Michael Solomon there. I believe that was her right as he turned the phone down. I'm gonna try to pick up see if we can find. I don't know what he was about to play there. We're gonna try to find some of the stuff that broke out between protesters. I'll hand it back to our host while we do that.
But real quick, Brandon,
So-
just to kind of continue that line of thought. You made a really good point. There was a lot of instances of fascism that did happen under President Obama. You can look at Ferguson, you can look at Baltimore, you can look at Standing Rock, you can look at a whole litany of things, including his lack of closing Guantanamo Bay, things like that, the garbage CIA torture report that was allowed to come out. But I'll say it like this: here's why I think things get exponentially worse under Trump, and it's not necessarily Trump himself that's going to do anything. I think it's the kind of people that are emboldened by somebody like Trump. So I think police militarization is going to stay the same. I think that stuff is going to be the way it is. But I think you're going to see not so much a resurgence of people like the Klan, but I think you're going to see a lot more instances of just regular everyday violence because people are feeling emboldened as if this is now their norm. So I think that's the left is freaking out about things that Trump is doing that were already happening under Obama. But I think the biggest influx of radical change is going to be from this movement that Trump has inspired. Obama had fascist moments, but I don't think he inspired a fascist movement in the way that we've seen the rise of neo-Nazis under Donald Trump.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a good point. And I think that there is obviously, well, so let me say this. I totally agree with you in that Trump has emboldened this sort of neo-fascist, or rather has ignited this sort of neo-fascist, neo-Nazi, just racist, also regular Nazis, right? That's weird. But sexism in America. Like this sort of this tinder box that is America. But that's just what America is. America is the tinder box, and Trump is a fire. I'm sorry, is a match, errant spark. Because if you know what you said right there, like we're going to see a resurgence of the Klan. We saw a resurgence of the Klan under 8 years ago when Obama got elected, right?
Yes,
so
that we did.
Obama may not have
called it the Tea Party, though.
No, yeah, that's true. But we also saw, like we know, statistically, the FBI tracks hate group. They keep a number of them. The Southern Poverty Law Center, keeps a record of new hate groups. And we saw the exponential growth in hate groups under Obama, and we're seeing that same growth under Trump. We saw the exponential purchase of guns under Obama. We saw all these things. And yes, Obama was not President Obama, ex-President Obama, whatever, was not actively feeding that hatred. He was not going out and speaking to those people. But the fact that these things just keep occurring, that there are just so many things that ignite that kind of thing in America, it says to me that that America's a tinderbox, and that it takes very, very little to embolden and mobilize these races because there are so many of them, and we have done nothing to actively combat the material and social and cultural realities that lead to their proliferation. And so my point is this. Yeah, racism was a problem under Obama, but Obama's cowardice as it came to race, and his cowardice as it came to not only his cowardice in addressing social issues and economic issues led to a situation in where racism and sexism and neo-fascism and all these things got to the point where Trump could win. And it's this inability of not only President Obama, but President Bush, President Clinton, President Reagan to actively combat this, like these elements of our society, these very problematic elements of our society and our culture in an active way that has led us to this point where a person like Trump can win. And don't get me wrong, I think that there is there's a mistake here. And that is, the mistake is that we call all of Trump's supporters racist, actively sexist. I think we can't say that. But what we can say is this, and this is another problematic element here, that maybe 25%, let's say 25, 20, 15% of Trump's supporters are actively racist, virulently, unabashedly racist, whatever. Okay. But what we can also say is this for sure. The other side of that, the 80%, the 85%, the 75% who are not racist, they are irresponsible. They are irresponsibly unbothered by overt racism.
Yeah.
And like, so what I can say that is that is a fault of our politicians and our media in general that has not made these issues of race and gender red lines. It's like this refusal to tackle these things and say, these are more red lines. And if you can't be okay with this in someone's past. And the reason is because if you did that, a lot of Democrats wouldn't win.
Clinton would not have even been able to run being a Goldwater girl. But
you can't take a moral red line on race when you're a Goldwater girl, and when you met with Goldwater back in 1996, she met with Goldwater back in 1996. It wasn't just when she was 16. She met with him when she was the first lady.
So here's
I'm gonna butt in real quick and just say that we got some news. We should have some footage from the team back in DC in the next hour or so, hopefully. But I got word that Michael Salomon actually got punched in the back at one of the events, so they're headed back to provide the footage and also care for that, because we can't have our people getting hurt. So
hey,
that's
real
good.
quick, I gotta change my charger here, otherwise I'm gonna blank out on you guys. I'm sorry, so I'm gonna turn off my camera and I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. So you have a clip ready, David?
No, I'm gonna go through some of the images on Michael Salomon's feed here. So some of the stuff that he picked up. He picked up a lot more images than footage so far, or at least that's available. So I'll let you, continue your thoughts.
Can you do a screen share for me, and so I can see what we're looking at? Because I don't have.
Okay, yeah. Hold on a second. You should have had that. I'm gonna shut off my mic, give it back to you, and you can go into some.
What was I saying?
I don't recall. I think you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So it becomes so Trump's victory is less of an issue of active racism in America. This is not a victory that was facilitated entirely by the Klan, right? Right, David? This is a victory that was facilitated by the cowardice that exists in our politicians. And it's not just cowardice. It's also triangulation, as they would call it. It's purposely being obtuse. It's feeding these sort of virulent elements of our society in order to become palatable. That has led us to a Trump victory, because people just racism, sexism, and homophobia, they're not red lines for people. They're not moral red lines. What they are things that you consider, and then you weigh them versus other things. And the Democratic Party and all of their identity politics and culture war rehashing and relitigating that they've been doing for the past 30 years, their versions of anti-racist, anti-sexist, anti-homophobia are very shallow and very patronizing.
Well,
I know Adair's back. Welcome back, Adair.
Thank you. I don't think you'll hear anybody arguing those points, though. But I want to talk about your tinderbox analogy there, and so here's how I see it. At least with what came through, right? What we saw with Obama being elected was just absolute 100% fear response from the radical right in this country. But what we're seeing now, just hold on one second, guys. What we saw with Obama was kind of the first wave of things, was a fear response that, oh my God, black guy in the office, our world's going to end because suddenly the person who's in charge doesn't look like me and isn't talking with this ridiculously fake Texas twang. It threw them for a loop. But what I think we're going to see with Trump is kind of the amping up of that. With Obama, it was responsive, it was fear-based, it was, I'm going to get these and then I'm going to take care of myself and mine, and we're going to get rid of all those scary people of color and women and LGBT folks. Now, they're, I think, more willing to go on the offensive because they feel like, well, that's what America wants. In their mind, they've decided, well, this is what America wants, such as that person who punched Michael in the back. That's the kind of thing that's happening. Now you're going to see independent journalists getting attacked. You're going to see journalism getting attacked because these people feel it's acceptable to do this because, well, Trump did it and he's the president. So that means the majority of Americans are okay with it, when in reality, we're not.
Well, journalism was getting attacked under Obama as well.
True.
The Obama administration, punished more,
whistleblowers,
punished
and
more
journalists
under the Espionage Act than every other president before him since the act has been signed combined. And see,
I'm saying that we're going to see more libel suits. Like, we're going to see people. We're going to start seeing Trump going after people, saying you're slandering, libel, things like that. We're going to have less. We're already moving towards propaganda.
Yeah, well, Trump is childish, right? Trump is very childish in his temperament and in his hang-ups.
So just to come in, sorry guys, being really rude today, but so just to give some of the captions in case people are having trouble seeing on the screen, because I'm not sure how clear it actually is. So this image here is actually of the law enforcement in the middle of the street, basically creating a human wall around some of the protests. Apparently, there's about 30,000 members of law enforcement out in the area. They actually outnumber the Trump supporters.
Wow.
So that's one thing. There's also been a lot of protesters taking over military vehicles, according to Michael Solomon's pictures here. We can see the damage from some of the protests that broke out earlier in the day. This is a government vehicle, apparently. And this next one is a limousine. We haven't confirmed this, but apparently from what Michael Solomon was told, I guess by whomever he spoke with, unconfirmed reports is this may have been Larry King's limo.
I'm sorry.
And this first picture that I had started with was what looks like a local Channel 7 affiliate being shut down by protesters. Basically, they were attacking actual mainstream media cameras and trying to get people to get the mainstream media to stop its own coverage.
Wow. Well,
so this whole that's really, well, I mean, that's something. I mean, obviously we're not.
Why is it that we on the left throw a fit every time we don't get something we want? I mean, I absolutely am I'm a huge fan of protesting. I'm a huge fan of violent protests, even.
What?
Yeah. I'm absolutely fine with people going out and fucking shit, messing things up.
You're a hockey fan.
I am a hockey fan.
I only support nonviolent forms of resistance.
I don't know. You're more Martin, I'm more Malcolm in that sense, because I'm absolutely fine with more of the militant behavior. I don't think anybody should be going out and attacking anybody, but at the same time, I'm absolutely fine with property destruction. I have zero qualms with it. You want to break government property, and I don't care.
Malcolm X was not in favor of that. Malcolm X was in favor of self-defense. But anyway,
I think this is actually, let's be real, this is more self-defense than anything. Well, because
I don't co-sign that, but I will say this. And so I don't know if the left is more childish when they lose than the right is. I don't think that's true. But what I do think exists on the left.
I didn't say that we were more childish. I don't understand why we feel the need to throw tantrums. I'm happy for protests. I love the protests, but I think there's a lot of whining going on from the left and not a lot of action.
Okay, well, I can address that though. I do have a theory on that, and I think the issue is this: the way that the Democrats stay in power, or rather, the way the Democratic establishment works and convinces people that they're legitimate, is by convincing its base, because its base is what I would consider to be, radical leftists, right?
Exactly.
Whatever the Tea Party, but they convince the sort of liberal bubble, your coast city urban Democrats, that they are winning. Like that is the Democratic Party scam, that they are in fact winning, and they redefine the criteria that is a victory. They redefine the criteria of victory. They move the goalposts. They come up with these sort of Pyrrhic symbolic victories that don't mean anything, and they keep this relatively large portion of their voting bloc in a bubble where every loss for a time is very surprising. Now, like look at how surprised people were when Clinton lost, and it's because they were convinced that things under Obama were getting better for everyone, and not just for a very small.
Objectively not.
It's objectively not, but again, it's objectively not, but subjectively for them, it was. But like when we relitigate Obama's legacy, and we see all of the losses all over America. We talk about job losses. I know he bailed out the auto industry and saved a lot of auto industry jobs, and that will go down in the win column. We talk about the actual day-to-day lives of rural Americans, the day-to-day lives of non-urban white upper middle class Americans. There was very little mobility there. If anything, there was more of people were going down, and so there is this surprise amongst people who do not exist in that demographic to the way things are. Like Obama put a very, very convenient mask on the failings of the Democratic Party. A lot of Democrats thought that the Democratic Party was doing better than it was, and not because Obama was so charming and his family was so beautiful, and they had a nice dog, and he spoke so well, and he was cool, and he was able to bamboozle a lot of Democrats into thinking that, well, the Democratic Party is fine. We're doing fine. Look at how fine we're doing. And now that he's gone, everyone is being woken up to the fact the Democratic Party is in shambles. People are talking about, Chris Hayes a few weeks ago was talking about, Democratic Party. He was in reference to Obama not speaking out more harshly against Trump. He was talking about like Obama, while the house is burning down, is sitting there going just fine. Everything's just fine. He posted just fine, dog.
That
and I was
on the internet.
Yeah, because nothing attracts the millennials like old white men posting memes. They're posting memes in their tweets. But
speaking of tweets, we do have another short minute of video from Ben. I'm not sure what he's saying here, so we're all going to find out together. Speaking of Ben, earlier today he was on By Any Means Necessary with Eugene, forget his last name, I forget it, but I know Anoa's been working with him as well. So apparently they were all in DC, including that show. And so
Eugene Perrier?
Yes, thank you. So Ben and Anoa were both on By Any Means Necessary earlier today. I believe we tweeted out the link. We shared it on Facebook. We can do that again. But in the meantime, here's Ben.
I can't do it. I'm not funny that many times, but do it. This is Trump's America. Look at me. This is Trump's campaign inauguration speech. Look at me, Obama. I'm the captain of this ship now. We are in Trump's America, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful, refugees, immigrants, LGBT, everyone. It's everyone. It's everyone. Black, hell, white people, be careful. He's coming for your ass too. Probably your pussy, to be honest with you. But this is Trump's America, ladies and gentlemen.
Be sure to get your DNA kit off of the TV so you can see if you can stay in Trump's America.
No, we're being hyperbolic. Clearly, I don't think it's going to be that bad. In real, I think on paper it's going to be horrible. Though the stuff they're going to go after is going to be pretty fucked up. But we knew that as soon as he won. We just got to double down and fight.
Stay safe and vigilant, America.
So I don't think I should get in trouble for playing that one from Ben. Ben might not appreciate it, but it is on social media and everyone can hear it.
Okay, so yeah. I just want to finish my thought about your question earlier. And so we talk about why are people so surprised So you wanted to clarify your position on
Yeah.
resistance?
Yeah. So here's what I'm saying, folks. What I mean by violent protest is I'm not okay with you going out and attacking police officers or random people or anything like that. But I am all for tearing up government stuff. By all means, do it. And I'm going to use this as an example, even though it didn't get long-term systemic change, because LAPD is still incredibly racist. But if you look at what happened after the Rodney King beating, and you look at the LA riots, and you look at what was going on, if you want to get a microscope under something that's happening, things have to go nuts, and I'm fine with it. I have absolutely zero problem with government property damage, period. And really, I don't like private property damage, especially small businesses. But if a Walmart's is out there, I mean, hey, it don't bother me none.
So I don't generally share a sentiment, but I do, to reference Ta-Nehisi Coates, about nonviolent resistance in terms of this. I am generally in favor of nonviolent resistance. It's like I'm generally anti-war, right? I'm generally anti-war. Obviously, there are specific situations where I would say, okay, well, all you can do is violently resist because there is no alternative. Like there are situations where the state has made nonviolent resistance untenable. You can't resist nonviolently because if you resist nonviolently, they respond to your nonviolence with violence. And this brings me to my Ta-Nehisi Coates thing, where he says it's not for the state it's not for a state which is practicing both structural and legitimate violence against its populace to call for nonviolence from its populace. And he was with reference to, I believe, the Ferguson riots, when Obama came out there and cajoled people for being nonviolent. I mean, for not being nonviolent and not following in the footsteps of Martin Luther King Jr. But he failed to recognize the fact that you were asking people to be nonviolent in the face of violence. You're asking them to respond to the structural violence of, basically a state that he represents with nonviolence, and that's an illegitimate cry for, the person punching you in the face calling for nonviolence is just them, But again, that is a problem for the elites in our society, right? For a lot of elites, their definition of nonviolence is you don't hit me back.
Yeah, well, no, that's exactly.
You don't fight back.
That's Trump's definition of nonviolence. That's Trump.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, and it's not just Trump though. Like that's also like the liberal intelligentsia want to get on Twitter and talk trash, and bully and cajole. And then when you respond with equal amounts of vitriol, they pretend like they're being harassed or cyberbullied. Like this is a sequel to a Lifetime movie. I'm sorry.
I get called. When we were at the DNC, when people were calling us despicable names, everything from racial to homophobic slurs. The moment you said anything back, oh no, you're just a sexist, you're a misogynist, immediately.
Well, they're the deep vein.
Like, whoa there.
They're the deep vein of racism and sexism and misogyny and all that proliferates the Democratic Party as well, and it's because it proliferates America. And it proliferates the elite class in America more than anything. And so what we saw at the Democratic Party, what we saw in the Democratic Party under Clinton was this veil of righteousness that Clinton provided for everyone simply by being a woman, and that allowed that kind of racism and sexism and ageism and elitism to come out full force, because once they were given that veil and told that it's open season on the progressive left, they look who they attacked. They attacked Native American activists. They attacked women. They attacked women of color. They attacked people. They attacked poor people. They attacked millennials. They went after the most vulnerable. There was even an article, I want to say it was in Vox, but don't sue me, Vox. I might be wrong. Where the person was making fun of a guy in a wheelchair, and it was like a break. And I'm like, what is going on here? It's like as soon as you get even a modicum of leverage and it's akin to being anonymous on the internet. Well, once there is no repercussion for you socially, once there are no social sanctions for your behavior or real legitimate sanctions, you go buck wild. And who do you go buck wild on? The people who are most vulnerable. You're supposed to be better than that. But again, let's circle back around to.
We're Americans.
So I'm going to come in and just say that we may have Anoa calling in soon at some time. I don't have a specific frame, but hopefully in a few minutes. I know we may lose Adair because of his battery. So before I play the next clip, which is about 10 minutes long, actually, or we can give Brandon a bathroom break. Adair, in case we lose you, any thoughts or?
Just don't stop fighting. And I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Obama. Don't let anybody in power put a face that looks like yours up and say, well, this absolves us of what we're doing wrong. Fight injustice when you see it, and don't make excuses for those that enable injustice to continue to happen.
Well said. All right, we're going to go and play this 10-minute clip, and if we may interrupt if Anoa has a moment to call in. Right now, I think the team's trying to just make sure that Solomon is okay, since you just gotta be careful at protest, man. All right, let's play this, and we'll be back soon. Yeah. Oh, and Noah might actually be calling now, and for some reason I don't think Solomon had audio on, so hold on a second.
Hey, this is Anoa.
So we do have Anoa on the air. Since you guys are with us, let's chat.
Hey,
Hey guys,
how are things on the ground?
we're alive. Solomon got injured, but we're all alive. We're good. It's wild.
Yeah, how is Solomon doing?
We actually kind of left the pandemonium to come back and regroup, but it's been a pretty interesting day. I mean, it's definitely more people in opposition than in support down here. A lot of people who are down here supporting. There's a lot of people in suits and fur coats and things like that. It's like Wall Street has come out to celebrate. I mean, it's interesting, but there's a lot of people on the ground in terms of those who have organized, whether they are Disrupt J20 Day events, Occupy Inauguration folks contingent. But there's a lot of people, activists, grassroots folks, just regular people out in the streets. There's some, like I said, there's some mayhem that broke out as well in the same general area, and I can pass the phone to Ben in a minute, but like some of the stuff that we've seen, for the most part, it's large. And I really hate to be one of the people who stress like, things need to be peaceful and stuff. But at the same time, there are actions that people take, and Ben had a really great take on this when we were driving. There are actions that people take that are intentionally antagonistic and actually undermine the work that people who have organized and tried to pull folks together to do. We were actually, waiting for one convergence of, various protesters and stuff to begin. And Michael Solomon and myself, we heard these large booms and saw this smoke, right? So being the nosy reporters, we ran. This is the first time. I never run towards danger. I always go in the opposite direction, but for the sake of it, I'm trying to upload the footage. I know Michael has a bunch of footage and photos, we can get uploaded as well, but they definitely were jamming servers because it got to a point where we couldn't stream or post or anything in the area. I never made it inside this morning. I figured as long as we get there, it was like as long as you get there before 9, it should be okay. But because of like the protests and other stuff, and just they were trying to control the crowd. Again, I don't think they anticipated the overwhelming response in this manner. I think they were expecting having to deal with a flow of people, similar to past cycles, and that wasn't the case. I mean, there were very few people comparatively. I think, numbers we heard earlier were like, a couple 100,000 maybe people are in D.C. as compared to when President Obama was inaugurated, closer to 1 million people. So it's definitely interesting. I know a lot of people who are from here who left the city not wanting to be bothered. It's an interesting feeling on the ground. I mean, I think tomorrow is going to be a completely different feel than today. And today was definitely about people, making it clear that they're not okay with what Trump stands for, and this new age Trump's America. So I'm tired, and there are other people who've been out there since the wee hours. We're out late last night, so I can only imagine, what people on the ground who have been organizing and pushing, just trying to be out there and getting a sense and a feel for what's going on. A narrative is definitely going to emerge about today that, there are these destructive, reckless people, and that's far from the truth. Most people out there are people who are really serious, or people from Standing Rock, people from all over who are really focused on the issues and being issue focused, right? Not just on opposing Trump, but being issue focused, issue driven. But because there are those people who, don't mind whether they're anarchists, nihilists, whatever you want to call them, they don't mind engaging, shutting it down and tearing it up. I mean, we'll see what happens. Here, Ben had a really good. I'm gonna bother Ben real quick. to let Ben chime in because he had a great announcement. This is on air.
Oh, shocked the hell out of me.
So before Ben starts up, before Ben goes into it, I just wanted to remind anyone tuning in that was Anoa Changa of the Way, and as you guys all heard, this is Benjamin Dixon.
Yeah, so no, it's wild, right? So I'm gonna be honest with you. I was a little bit over everything that was happening out there. We covered it, and it was some of the same exact people from Philadelphia, some of the same exact insurrectionists, and I like civilization. I like. I like the fact that we have clean water, and I like the fact that we have things that function, and we have a group of people out there who are genuinely there to destroy, right? And their ultimate, and the reason I cast it in that kind of tone is because their ultimate goal is to see the end of any type of organized government, any type of organized civilization. Is like the pure, separate. But they brought an element, and I think, how many people would you say it was? I know, maybe 30. Insurrectionists total. Very small group. Right, it's a very small group compared to the thousands. And as I'm going in and out to the different appointments I had to make, I was watching television, passing through one office to another, and all you saw was a focus on this small group of people, and you would see more cameramen there than you did actual insurrectionists. But right across the street, like maybe a block away, there were thousands of people who were actually gathering for a rally for democratic socialism, for change, for progress. They were actually there on the stage with permits, doing it the way that it has to be done in our world. Now, I'm not afraid or one that doesn't feel like we should shake up our institutions. However, when your action takes away from people who are doing the work, right? They literally took the attention away from the people who had been organizing, putting boots on the ground. You're not doing us a service. You're doing us a disservice. So I think I had the same sentiment when I came back from Philly. It's like, I'm all about the protest. I'm all about the march. I'm all about that. But and they're real also, right? This is Progressive Army. But those other motherfuckers can just go kill themselves because they are detrimental to everything that we stand for, that we're fighting for. We don't have the same interests. We don't, and it never has. And of course, they align with leftists and they align with the end of capitalism. But their ultimate goal is the end of government and the end of organized government. And that has very damaging effects to the work that people have put in so much time to do. So you won't see, and that's why it was great for us to be out there. You will not see the actual protest and march by Occupy Inauguration, by the people by the Democratic Socialists of America who are there. You won't see that on mainstream because mainstream is just eating up this insurrectionist bullshit, even though it's only about 30 of them out of 10,000 people.
And real quick, Ben, you guys both, Ben and Anoa, you both make really great points with that, because we were talking earlier. I personally, like I've said, with seeing things going on in Ferguson and stuff there, I don't mind the property damage that's happened in those places. But I think the points you make up here are absolutely have to be talked about, because there is that element that goes in. Damn it. I died. I fucking died as I start talking.
Oh no! But you were making an amazing point there, right? So it's not. I don't care about property, right? Property can be replaced, but I have been on the literal front line, face to face with these guys recording at the DNC, and their goal wasn't to destroy property. Their goal was to cause a violent confrontation. And their words exactly: "We're going to set this off with these police, so people could see how violent the police can really get." That goal is dangerous. That goal is, we won't win. We cannot win that. We don't win. I mean, I don't care how many millions of people we have. They have tanks. they have anti-assault aircraft missiles. Okay, so we take their tanks. We take over some bases. We get some pilots. They have fucking nukes. So, what is your ultimate goal if it's just to have a war with the institutions that have this legitimate use of power over us? And so I don't care if they destroy the Starbucks, whatever. The window will be replaced tomorrow. What matters to me is that they're putting people's bodies and lives in danger for a goal that is as fictional as Muppet Babies.
Well, I mean, I think there exists, like you said, there exists a segment of the left that is anarchist and recklessly anarchist, because there are good anarchists. There are degrees of anarchism, and most people who are anarchists subscribe to a more anarchist organizing strategy. But there are people out there who, are looking to get martyred by the police to prove that the state is violent. Mm-hmm. And that's not effective, because, as you pointed out, the way the mainstream media controls the narrative, all they will do is show, look at these violent protesters, and the police had to put them down. There won't be this sort of even-handed presentation of information, and really there shouldn't be in that situation, because you did go out there to produce a violent confrontation. So the mainstream media is correct. Mm-hmm, but even if you didn't,
and here's
all it does is give.
Now, this is how you know they're corrupt. They're going to definitely be insurrectionists doing that thing tomorrow. But tomorrow is is what Anoa pointed out very, very brilliantly, that tomorrow is the approved establishment march. The Women's March is ordained by the establishment and the media establishment. So they're not going to focus on the anarchists tomorrow. Tomorrow you're going to see all these wonderful images of all these neoliberal women marching, and not all of them neoliberal, but you get it. They are definitely approved by the establishment, marketed by the establishment, covered by the establishment media. And so you're not going to see an emphasis on 12 insurrectionists causing mayhem. You're going to see, and rightfully so, you're going to see the focus on the 30, 40, 50,000 women who have come to protest against Trump. Now, they would not give that same amount of credibility or that same amount of validity to the Democratic Socialist Movement, the people who are the real left and not the anarchist left.
Definitely, and when we know that the mainstream media treats the radical left, or even just the almost radical left, the reasonably radical left.
Right. I don't mean to cut you off, but we're not even the right. If you think. We're dealing with people who think DeRay McKesson is radical, and all of us look at DeRay McKesson and we're like, okay, I'm not gonna say that word, but please, please. And then there are the anarchists, extreme radical left, who want a war with the government, just like the extreme right, they want a war with the government. And I'm trying to tell you guys, we are so far, we are so reasonable because you have no idea what's to the left of us. So your option is to you should want to deal with us because we are the reasonable ones and we are truly left.
Well, the goal is to sort of symbolically align anyone who is not neoliberal on the left, not sort of this moderate Clinton leftist, moderate Clinton neoliberal, with those anarchists, right? That's the goal. If you are a socialist, you're with the anarchists. If you're with you're just unreasonable, because they're trying to find. Or rather, they're trying to construct this narrative of we are the legitimate resistance, right? Keith Olbermann and Neera Tanden and David Brock, they're the leaders of the DNC, are the leaders of the legitimate resistance, and everyone else is just anarchist, even though they've proven themselves to be laughably inept at resisting anything.
Right.
And so,
and that's the paradigm. That's the struggle. That's the squeeze, is to break through this propaganda that anything that you see that's not ordained by the establishment is pure radical. And then the way they conceal that deal is because anything that we see that is not approved by conservatism, Because let's be real. Like, there's some neoliberal black leaders who are fully approved by the establishment, who are considered radical because they are not toting the line for white Christian men, conservatism in America, right? They have the nerve to call the Reagan Pedersen a radical. And we have to break through the propaganda to let them know that the left is such a broad spectrum of ideologies, and there really is only one rational left that you want to deal with, because if you go any further, it's not an economically further, it's a methods, your methodology. If you go any further to the left, you have the pure insurrectionists who intersect with these sovereign citizens on the right. I mean, let's not be, their method is just different, but their goal is the same, to overthrow the government.
Well, I understand. So I understand, like, there are different degrees of anarchism, right? So, like, I understand the value in anarchism, and I'm not as familiar with anarchism as most people are. My familiarity with anarchism comes in from the academic sort of organizing sphere, like books by David Graeber and stuff like that. And so, anarchism as an organizing strategy and a resistance strategy has its, it has its merits. The non-hierarchical, acephalous organizing. Occupy Wall Street was an anarchist organizing thing, and in a lot of ways, anarchism, at its roots, has its roots in sort of the same sort of foundational notions of democracy, liberty, equality, all of these things. So I can recognize that stuff. Like, what we're talking about here is not necessarily traditional, clean, nice anarchism. We're talking about anti-statists, and there's a difference, right? Like, there is a group of anarchists who are anti-statist, but anti-statism is not just anarchists by definition, or rather by affiliation, are on the left, but there are anti-statists on both sides. The Tea Party was anti-statist, really, or at least they present themselves as that. So, I mean, when we talk about anarchism, we do have to make the kind of differentiation between people who are colloquially anarchists, which is generally a derogatory term by neoliberals who don't understand anarchism, for anti-statists. Because the real anarchists, let's be honest, are Tea Party. But let me
jump in there real quick, Brady, because I want to make sure, like, I'm identifying these people as insurrectionists, right? Because I agree that there's a spectrum of anarchy, and so I'm not going to lay this at a blanket statement of people anarchists. There are some intersections between anarchists and these insurrectionists. But I'm calling them insurrectionists because they have one express goal out here today, and that is to cause violence with the police so that they can create a dangerous situation and have the police brutalize people, so that it's the same exact shit that you see with ISIS or any type of radical group that uses radicalization as a recruitment tool. They feel if we can get the government to crack down on the people, then we can radicalize more people. So they're willing to cause bloody harm and damage to the lives of people, so in hopes of radicalizing them. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's the only group that actually hate more than conservatives and neoliberals are the insurrectionists, who would sacrifice people's bodies for a goal that they don't even have fleshed out beyond theory.
Oh, that's definitely true. There does it is what it is. Like, it's anti-state. It's martyrdom for the position of proving that the state is bad in all its forms, right? Like it's what it is, and that kind of thing exists on the left, exists on the right. I personally
I lost that last part right there. Say that one more time for me, Brad.
I'm personally just like I recognize the need to be, nuanced in our treatment of anarchy, even though that I am not an anarchist, and I don't think anarchism from a government standpoint, even as academic, is a good idea. But I mean, these people, they're stupid and they're anti-statist, and it is what it is. So what else is going on in the ground?
I mean, there's a lot going on. So there was a beautiful rally right next to everything that was being headed up by democratic socialists. I mean, they had like thousands of people out there. It was beautiful. And then Anoa and I, we had a chance to go and be in the studio with Eugene Perrier. I can never pronounce it. How do you pronounce it? Per year. And we had some great conversations about everything we see around us. One of the most fascinating things that we see on the ground, and I think Anoa already pointed out, is the fact that we're dealing with wealthy, affluent Trump supporters. There are no working class people out here. I mean, I think I ran into 3 working class people, at least by their wardrobe, But for the most part, everybody was walking around with their furs and their minks and their, big money. And that just goes to show you the beauty of the swift voting that just has happened to America. The idea, the eternal divide that they want to keep between poor white people and poor everybody else, because they know if the poor white people joined up with the proletariat, if we actually unify, then we give the establishment a true problem. But that's what happened, right? So they played that game, and when you got here to the inauguration, there were no working class people. Everybody here's easily making $250,000 a year or more, just by the watch. You can look at the quality of the watch on their arm and realize that they're in a different income bracket altogether. And that's the bulk of Donald Trump's support group, and then it's a thin group at that. The last thing I noticed, and I'll throw it back to you guys because we have to actually get to another event, is they were outnumbered. I mean, Trump supporters, they were outnumbered 10-1 easily. So, and you can see the fear in their eyes, and I'm not really big on laughing at people's fears, but all things considered, you saw them running like hell, trying to get away from the socialists, not even the anarchists. I'm not talking about the insurrectionists. They were trying to get away from the Democratic Socialist rally where it was really vibrant. And I just saw people grabbing their loved ones and running with their red hats on, making America great again. Maybe they should make America brave again because they were chicken shit cowards. Did not, and I'm not saying they had to go over there with the insurrectionists because I was waiting. Quite honestly, that's the group I dislike the most. I'm saying they were running from just average Democratic Socialists, and then there was only a handful of them. So it's quite a spectacle to see.
And I just had a thought. I wonder if we will be seeing. I wonder how many people will be out there protesting Clinton. Like, I wonder if these same.
Here's the thing. Yes, these people actually have permits back in the summer. So the Democratic Socialists and the socialist movement that was there, they were going to protest no matter who, right? The only people who weren't prepared to protest and had a very difficult time getting a permit is the Women's March tomorrow. Because the only reason they're protesting is because Hillary lost. And don't get me wrong, they still have the right, and they probably do have the need. There's some justification to protest Trump all day long. But to answer your question, they just got their permit. The rest of the groups that we saw, they were permitted long before the election was even decided. So guys, hey, thanks so much for what you all are doing, holding down the fort. Couldn't do it without you guys. Clearly, I think that's obvious. We couldn't do it without you. So mad love and appreciation to each of you. We're getting ready to head over to one other event, and we'll send you video and stuff as we get it.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
Hey,
Thanks, man.
So I'm going to come on screen with Brandon since Adair unfortunately lost his connection. I think his battery finally died. And I did get word that Solomon, in fact, was injured. I don't know how bad just yet, but he was injured to some degree. So if you're out there, be careful. Brandon, any thoughts on all that while I pull up some of Anoa's short videos before we go to a long one by Progressive Independent Party? Brandon?
Any thoughts on well, I guess I have a lot of people in the chat room talking about the anarchy and not confusing anti-statist and insurrectionists with anarchism. And I think that's a very valuable point, and we do have to be more nuanced about this. I happen to be a bit more familiar with anarchy, just broadly as a political thing. And obviously there are different types of anarchists. There are anarcho-capitalists, anarcho-feminists, anarcho-socialists, all these different flavors of anarchism. And, they're right. Anarchism, in a lot of ways, is more akin to socialism. It's more akin to a direct democracy. It's more akin to an acephalous, well, obviously not a state, but acephalous, for lack of a better word, an acephalous state. It's not a state, obviously, but it's an acephalous mode of organizing. And I'm not an anarchist. I don't think it's politically pragmatic, but they have their arguments, and I can see that. But and largely when anarchism is used by either the right or the left, it's used to refer to leftists who are anti the state in this particular incarnation. So like you can be labeled an anarchist simply by not liking the state the way it is right now and saying we need to reevaluate the way the state functions, insofar as the state right now is meant to serve a very small subsection of interest. And so under that paradigm, I'm an anarchist because I'm a socialist. I'm a democratic socialist. If you happen to not be a neoliberal, you're an anarchist because we have a neoliberal state. And they are very quick to throw that word around, even though, it has its meanings and it has its value.
Yeah, I think we get used to using labels to an excessive degree. Is the best way I can say it on the spot. But that's why I stay behind the scenes and don't come on screen too often. But I do think that whether it's liberals, conservatives, progressives, centrists, neoliberals, any of these labels, I think we get used to using them to such an extent that they lose their meaning and they can be applied to just about anything, which then defeats the purpose.
Well, that's a good point. And one of the part of resisting Trump and resisting the Democrats and resisting the neoliberals and neoconservatives is not getting bogged down with language, right? So we don't want to get bogged down with labels and identity, because we saw what happens when you do that. You turn a lot of people off, and that's not to say that they're not important, but a lot of times labels can, instead of being clarifying, can be mobilized to obfuscate the truth. So with anarchism, it's being mobilized as a derogatory term for people who are anti-neoliberalism. And it's the same for a lot of things. So we can't get too bogged down in the terms. We can't spend our day arguing between what is the right form of progressivism. What we really need to do is come together on issues, sort of not abandon terms, but be less, not nuanced, but be less picky about what we call ourselves and be more picky about who we align ourselves with. I think that if we learn one lesson, is that just because you put a D by your name, you're not on the left, right? You're just less on the right sometimes, or more on the right than some people who put an R behind their name. So I think a lot of people in the aftermath of the Democratic Party's implosion are trying to come up with a lot of words to call themselves. Are we the left? Are we liberals? Are we neoliberal? I mean, no one's saying are we neoliberals? Are we liberals? Are we leftists? Are we progressive? And there's value in that. There's organizing value in that. But from my perspective, we need to be a post-label society, right? People can no longer tell you, well, I'm a feminist, and you say, okay, well, then we have the same interests. Let's fight for the same things. And you can represent me in the public square, because we had that, because we see what the mainstream media does with that, right? We see what the mainstream media does when we give them domination over the language in terms. They create these definitions that benefit them and their power structures. The definitions of feminism and anti-racism as they appeared during this general election were so shallow that you had people out there who claimed to be radical feminists, intersectional feminists, who were supporting David Brock. It's like, sorry, bro. You can't be both, right? David Brock's record on Anita Hill is grotesque. You have people out there who claim to be feminists and anti-racist, but they claim to care about the plight of Black people, and women of color and people of color, but they are not pro $15 minimum wage. And so we have to get out there and go on by issue when it comes to who we align ourselves with. You can't simply say, well, I'm a progressive. Okay, what does that mean to you, right? What does that mean to you? So part of this resistance, part of this new era we enter ourselves into, we have to wrest control of the definition of the left from the neoliberals. The neoliberals who control the Democratic establishment can no longer be in charge of defining what it means to be sexist, racist, progressive, left, liberal, no matter, they can't. Because what they do is they create definitions that benefit them, and everyone who's to the left of them are just marginalized out.
Yeah, no, I think we are in sync there, for sure, and that's really why I think that we need more substance versus just whatever is going to get clicks and views. That wasn't specifically what you were referring to, but I think that's one of the biggest drivers behind the loss of meaning is just what's going to get attention.
Oh, yeah, well, there's lots of things that lead to loss of meaning, and a lot of it is co-option, right? So the Democrats are now co-opting the word progressive. Now, oh, you're resisting Trump, you're a progressive. Democrats are co-opting it, and they're redefining it to suit them, and that's problematic. But only if you get bogged down with language and you get bogged down with labels. And I know saying that I'm not into labels is one of the most pretentious things you can say, and it is pretentious. But we just have to evolve past the point where we are inclined to look at the most shallow criteria for organizing. We have to start having these nuanced conversations amongst each other, and that's the only way we can form coalitions on the left and between the left and the right. We can form together and form coalitions on things that we believe in, and then we fight each other on things that we don't believe in. But those coalitions can no longer simply be formed by, well, are you left or are you right? Because that's how we got to where we are now, right? We have two proto-political parties in America that have no sort of concrete policy goals. They have no concrete direction to move in, and no concrete defining characteristics other than we're not the other party. And they have devolved at this point to just pure antagonism, pure crisis management, pure the other party is literally Satan. And if you vote for them, you are voting for evil, and no one's getting anywhere. And so we talk about, before they're, left, he asked whether things are going to get exponentially different under Trump. And so I feel like I can answer that question. The answer I would give is probably not exponentially, probably, a few degrees, but a lot of people now are just going to finally start paying attention, and they're going to say, well, things are going to get exponentially worse. Now, I'm sure for a lot of people, these protests right now, I know this is obviously a straw man. I can't prove this, and I have no data to support me, so sorry if I'm wrong. For a lot of people who pay cursory attention to the news, this is going to be the first time they see evidence of the police state. Because no DAPL right now is not being covered, because everyone is flying off the handle over Trump's inauguration. So this is going to be the first time they see crowds being pepper sprayed and police in riot gear, and they're going to be finally awakened whatever to a reality that has existed for a long time, and is there value in that? Yeah. So I guess the question becomes, this is a very lofty questions I can't answer. Is it better for things to be objectively better, but for no one to recognize the problems, which is what we had under Obama, that we have this objective, we have a shitty situation. It's not the worst it could be, but people are sort of turning a blind eye, or at least not all people, but the majority of people who should be resisting these sort of state apparatuses, this sexual oppression, they're turning a blind eye because Obama's giving them a blank pass. Or is it better for things to be objectively worse under Trump, but for people to be paying attention now? And I don't know the answer to that question. That's I'm not in favor of Trump as president. I'm not in favor of burning down the house, but it's an interesting question. A lot of people, and for the example I give is that Chris Hayes comes out a few weeks ago and lambasts President Obama for his cowardice as it relates to confronting Donald Trump. I think a lot of people in the mainstream leftist media, mainstream liberal media, whatever, MSNBC, for lack of a better word, wanted President Obama to be raging at Trump, fighting Trump, resisting Trump left and right, and not peacefully transitioning out of presidency. And this was their wake-up call for President Obama is kind of a coward, right? It's like President Obama is kind of a radical centrist. He is he's radically civil. He is recklessly civil. And they were surprised by this. But but if you look at what was going on in Ferguson, what was going on in Standing Rock, where people were getting their arms blown off, and he was like, let's play it by ear. Let's see what goes. Let's see what happens. It's not a surprise. And so I don't know. A lot of Democrats are being. This is a wake up call for a lot of people, and hopefully it doesn't wake them up in vain, I guess.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I I hope it's not in vain. But maybe that's possibly having too high of expectations. And I'll let you maybe if you have any thoughts on such expectations and what's realistic. If you want to comment on that, that's fine. Otherwise, we also do have two short videos, about 3 minutes each. One seems to have possibly been some rioting, and I'm not quite sure, but the other was definitely some infighting in the streets.
Okay, we'll play the clip, right?
All right, hold on one second. Let's get that on screen.
Is the sound here?
There should be, but for some reason, and I was getting it before, but now I'm not getting it. I don't know why.
I'll just keep rambling then, because what else are we going to do, right? What are they seeing though? I mean, what are we seeing here? Oh, okay. So generally in these videos, what we're showing is that the unrest in the streets, you know, yelling matches between people on the left, between people, Trump supporters and people who are protesting Trump. Pretty, I would say, standard stuff. Things you expect to see.
Yeah, that's what there was a lot more earlier, and I would expect that as the marches take off the ground, you know, get started tomorrow. Depending on what supporters are out there, there may be some more things to break up.
So here's the thing, David, and the reason why people succumb so quickly to like trying to label themselves is that America, at the national level, despite all of our quote unquote national conversations, is actually pretty bad at communicating, right? So we look for these shortcuts. We look for these little shortcuts to organize ourselves based on, when really we need to start having actual communication, both in the public sphere and in the private sphere. Do I think that we need to disassociate ourselves with each other based on like small issues, whether those small issues be well, tell me the big issues, but do I think that we need to dissociate ourselves from each other based on political issues? No, of course not. I think that we need to come together and litigate these ideas in the public square. We need to have these conversations between ourselves and within ourselves, and not simply put them in little black boxes, not put our ideology in a little black box and try to recklessly adhere to our ideology. Whatever I do is on the left because I'm on the left, I'm a leftist, whatever. Because what we see now, me and Adair talked about this tinderbox that exists in America is part of this refusal by the political sphere, by politicians, by large swaths of America. Actually, oh, sorry.
I got this one. This one's from Anoa. It's not the one from Michael Salomon, but we'll give this one a shot and see what we have here. Just pull the right feed up. There we go. And we're off.
Alright, so yeah, I know everybody's telling me to be safe, but I don't know what's going on. There is some loud kind of artillery. I have no clue what's going on. But I'm with Michael Salomon. He'll make sure I'm okay.
So, bye.
I'm supposed to be going into the studio right now. Yeah, it's about 2:30. We're on K Street and 14th right now with Michael Salomon. Yeah, we can't scream at the moment. Sorry about that, guys. So we're trying to. The pink one. Like shit is popping off, and we're getting a little bit closer. Some type of smoke, some type of artillery. So just trying to show you guys, give you guys a little. She said it's tear gas, so there's tear gas being shot off. There's clearly a standoff happening right now with protesters, and we're gonna get as close as possible. Oh shit, everybody's right this way. I'm not really sure. People are running this way. Not really sure why everyone's running. We're trying to get as close. This is Trump's America, right? Like law enforcement. Is the crowd dispersed? They have been.
See if we can use the Zoom call before we change.
Several detonations have happened of whatever that is.
They are moving the crowd with shots.
Yeah, they're trying to move the crowd backwards. They're trying to force people to disperse. Yeah, we've been told this is tear gas, so we're trying to, and scarves and stuff over their faces. We're trying to get closer as close as possible, show you guys what's going on. Okay, we're going in. We're no selfie sticks or anything because we're trying to get in earlier, so there's certain things we didn't have with us right now, but trying to get a little closer to show you.
This is the 13th Washington, D.C. We don't know, other than people said that artillery shots might be gas.
Really not sure.
SUVs being pulled in people up there.
We're walking closer, trying to figure out what's really they've been blocking the road up here, trying to block.
So friends, if you're here and they start shooting, please take this car, but don't take it back to the Pedersen. Too many people there. A lot of hatred. So there's a way they start shooting at times. Let's not take the Pedersen. Take this car and get exit, okay? I'll show you no other people. Okay.
So getting a little closer. There is a rally behind us already happening at the Pedersen. There's this action happening. Well, it's funny because there's the McDonald's.
So yeah, it looked like some a bit of chaos breaking out. I think it got worse after that point. The other person you saw in the video was Michael Solomon. He had the brown jacket on with the with the hat, and he is also the one that from what Anoa and I think Ben mentioned as well, that got injured and they had to go back to where they're staying to take care of the injury. Brandon, any thoughts?
Oh yeah, let me finish my thought from before. Just to close out, I guess, because we're gonna transition to a larger clip, right?
Yeah, so we have a video coming up of we have two actually that are very, very long, and we're gonna just stream them straight. And for those that may be interested in seeing the march that took place earlier from Progressive Independent Party. But before we do that, yeah, go for it.
I just want to say that, I attribute a large part of Trump's ascendancy to power to the lack of conversations, both literal conversations and changes in the way we speak about certain things culturally in the media regarding issues of race, sexuality, gender, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that have allowed these elements of our society to fester in little pockets. And grow and become stronger and go unchallenged. That's really the issue, right? So we have all this white supremacy in our society that we ignore in large. Both the Democrats and Republicans ignore and feed into with dog whistles that we never actually come out and challenge verbally. And when we do try to challenge them verbally, it's viewed as improper, race baiting, racism is over, sexism is over, all things are over, and we need to start having really adult conversations with people who we don't agree with. And by adult conversations, I don't mean the kind of conversations that Democrats and Republicans have, where it's a lot of just meaningless grandstanding. I mean adult conversations where we engaged we engage in, reasonable and sometimes unreasonable discourse about each other's ideologies and why they are not valuable or proper or, outmoded. So let's transition into a longer clip from the PIP, right, Nick? Right, David?
Yep, I'm going to pull that up right now. If you'd bear with me just a second. Get that going. And basically what this is, I believe it was directly from Eric Albalas, the founder of Progressive Independent Party, and one of the people in charge, I believe she may have founded as well, Occupy Inauguration and the summit that's taking place on Sunday. And they were in at least one march, if not two, or it may have been two videos of the same march at different times. But they were involved in the march, and they took some lengthy videos of their participation and what took place during it. Let me see if I can pull this up here while I, as Ben would say, filibuster to get them up. And one was the Occupy Inauguration Critical Mass Rally, and the other was looks like just another bit of protesting. We'll go with the first one, and it's extremely long, so I may not play the whole thing, but we'll see if you guys are interested in this, and we'll play it for a little bit. Let's see if I can get this on screen.
Do you want to come back later, David? Like later tonight?
Yeah,
Maybe...
we will probably, if we stop the stream at any point, I'll definitely come back, whether or not Brandon's here, just to let you guys know if we're cutting it. And we will probably be back around, I would say probably Ben's time, around 9 p.m.
Yeah, you know what? How about you just play 30 minutes of this clip, drop the stream, then we'll come back at 9 for another hour.
That sounds doable. We'll go ahead with this, and depending on what's going on with this one, I might switch to the other one. But then we'll come back, we'll end it, and we'll come back at 9 p.m. and see what's going on.
All right, thank you. I know I'm still on stream. Thank you. Apparently, General Mad Dog Mathis was just confirmed as the Secretary of Defense. So,
that's a good bit of news, and not a positive, but that's actually that's significant because he does live up to his name.
Yeah, but again.
Okay, so here we go. I do have this on screen now. I'm gonna transition. Brandon is no longer giving you his pretty mug, and here is Progressive Independent Party.
But it was a totally different story for a lot of my coworkers. Many of them, they had children and they were struggling to make ends meet despite working 2 or 3 jobs. And I still don't understand how someone could be made to work 40, 50, or sometimes even 60 hours a week and still not be able to provide for themselves and their families. This made me realize the urgency of solidarity and how necessary it is for workers to stand together in order to raise standards for all of us. I graduated from high school and made my way to Columbia.
So this was a rally, not a march.
My USAS local student worker solidarity. And ever since I joined, I've been involved in so many different struggles for economic justice. Right now, our adjuncts, they're working on their first union contract, and our grad students are involved in a battle for their union right now. We also launched a Fight for 15 campaign on our campus, and we were able to secure a $15 minimum wage for now we're calling for the university to ensure that they treat student workers the way that they deserve to be treated and that they're paid fairly and on time. And during these battles, unity amongst ourselves and our community have kept us strong in the fight. We have also been working with hedge clippers to expose the fact that Columbia has over $3 billion invested in hedge funds. And they're the same hedge funds that are run by many of Donald Trump's appointees for different secretary positions. As as students, we have the ability to hold our university and their billion-dollar checkbooks accountable. And we're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep fighting, and we're going to keep standing up until the world is a better place.
We do not consent, not my president.
This is the kind of behavior we can expect.
So this one coming up, I believe, is Jill Stein. I think that is Jill Stein, at least, and so we'll tune into that part.
Even more of out of a Trump administration.
Measure are refugees from the very policies of the United States that has driven them here to start with. Between NAFTA, between our war on drugs, between the overturning of democracies, the support for the coup in Honduras. This is what has driven so many millions of refugees to this country, only to be criminalized, to be detained, to be night raided. We are standing up to say no to all of that. We are standing up to say yes to an America and a world that works for all of us. It's important not to let them make us take our eyes off the prize. They are trying to put us purely into defensive mode. We need to be in offensive mode. We are standing up and fighting. We will not go away, but we're not just fighting back, we are fighting forward for the future that we deserve. Because what produced Donald Trump to start with? It's important to remember, Donald Trump did not come out of nowhere. In fact, polls showed over and over that the majority of Donald Trump's voters were not voting for him. They were actually voting against Hillary Clinton and the track record of the Democrats. So it is very much a bipartisan problem. And you will notice there is a massive effort going on, sort of a public relations campaign to hijack the opposition to Donald Trump and label it Democratic. If we do that, we are just going to keep driving the economic austerity and despair that is producing right-wing extremism all over the world, which is a response to globalization, to the offshoring of jobs, to the likes of the global trade agreements like NAFTA, like the WTO, like the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Transatlantic Trade Agreement. This is what we need to stand up against, and against both political parties that are being funded by the predatory banks, by the fossil fuel giants, by the war profiteers and the insurance companies and the usual suspects. It's really important for us to remember where the power comes from. The power comes from us. That power is right here today, and it is growing stronger. As horrible as the outcome of this election is, it was really not a surprise in some ways. This was an incredibly toxic election, an election more dominated by big money and big corporate media, and indeed the backroom strategy of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, whose plan was to lift up these extremist, lunatic, right-wing fringe Republicans in order to make it easier for Hillary Clinton to get elected. Well, that kind of backfired, didn't it? The same DNC that sabotaged Bernie Sanders, who would have won hands down in this election. We have no one to thank but the Democratic Party for the outcome of this election, even though they are working overtime right now to try to blame this on the Russians. But as hard as I and others look for the actual evidence, that evidence is no more than that we, the security agencies, agree that the Russians did it. Well, would you please show us some evidence. Yes, the Russians are capable of doing it. We do it all the time. This is how the world works. And remember, these leaks or hacks, whatever they were, would not have been a problem at all had there not been this incredible backstabbing and sabotage going on behind closed doors on the part of the Democratic Party to start with. This is very much a crisis they brought on themselves. It's important, again, to remember where this crisis came from and the issues that the Democrats and Republicans have agreed on. Offshoring of our jobs, the depression of our wages, the attack on immigrants that the Democrats are hand-wringing about right now. Where did this come from? Our deporter-in-chief, unfortunately, this nice personality in the White House that everybody's feeling so appreciative of right now, unfortunately, he didn't do the job for we the people. And when push came to shove, he was there for Wall Street. And his very first appointment was none other than Larry Summers, the architect of the Wall Street meltdown to start with. So let's just remember where this came from. And for those who think that we're just going to convince the DNC, the Democratic Party, to just get on the right side here, all we have to do is work a little harder. Who worked their tail off in this campaign for Bernie Sanders? Would you say you went to the mat? You went all out. There was nothing you didn't do, and you did everything right. And had the elections not been, shall we say, a little bit irregular, we would have had a very different outcome. So don't fool yourself for a minute that the DNC is going to get talked into turning to the right side of history, because Bernie is not the first person to have been shafted by the Democratic Party. You can look at what happened to Dennis Kucinich, or what happened to Jesse Jackson, or you can go back further to the realignment movement of the 1960s and 70s. I don't know if there's anybody out there old enough to remember, but that's when the Democratic Party was going to be made into this progressive movement. But it failed. And do you know why that failed? Big money, and especially the war in Vietnam. Because if you were a critic of the war in Vietnam, you did not have the credibility to then criticize the Democratic Party. So the reform effort floundered on the war, in turn powered by the money. And if you saw the news just a couple days ago, the DNC held a debate for the candidates to lead the DNC, and not a one stood up to say they were going to change direction and get lobbyist money out. Even Barack Obama pretended to do that for a while. They wouldn't even pretend to do that. And the idea of saying no to corporate money, like the Green Party does, let's hear it for the Green Party on that account, the DNC wouldn't even entertain that notion. So for all those people out there who are waiting for the Democratic Party to wake up, don't be fooled. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 1,000 times, really, really shame on me. We are out of time. We are out of time. It's time for us to stand up for the future that we deserve. It's time to stand up and own the power that we actually do have. And I want to encourage you right now, keep doing what you're doing. And can we please give a big shout out to Occupy Inauguration for this wonderful work, for standing up amidst this madness and not just knee-jerking to the idea, oh, Trump is bad, so therefore let's just go back to the Democrats, which is the message that's getting played out here on a lot of parts. We need to stand up. Thank you to Students Against Sweatshops, who really understand this as well. Thank you to Veterans for Peace, who's been leading the charge for us all. Thank you for your sacrifice, your double sacrifice and service. Tomorrow, as you know, we will be doing an Inaugurate the Resistance Day of programming on the Green News Network, which you can watch from 10 till 5 o'clock. And that is at Dr. Jill Stein, and that's DR no period, our Facebook page. And we'll be featuring activists and community members from across the movements talking about sharing inspiration and resistance and how do we work on our issues, how do we work together. It's been incredibly inspiring watching this forum come together. So I urge you to watch it, or you
doing.
In a world where 8 billion
me that if you want to live in a peaceful world, you got to act peacefully.
Fighting for our democracy in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Folks, my name is David Cobb, and I am a straight-up revolutionary.
So this is David Cobb coming up. We'll listen to what he had to say. He actually was on both Project Sanity and The Way with Anoa earlier, late in 2016 when the campaign was still in swing. I believe for a period of time he was Jill Stein's manager towards the end, Jill Stein's campaign manager.
I think it's important that we actually give ourselves permission to say it, so I'm going to say it again. My name is David Cobb. I am a straight-up revolutionary. I'm a revolutionary because I know we cannot modify a white supremacist capitalist system. I'm a revolutionary because I know we have to restructure this society. I'm a revolutionary because I know that if we do not get a handle on the social, political, and economic institutions, they are going to destroy the planet that we depend upon for life itself. How am I doing? And for the FBI agents and the CIA folk in the crowd, I am a non-violent revolutionary. And I am saying that for two reasons. Number one, because as a matter of practical tactics, I don't think that we can win a violent revolution today. Those days are past. Even if you wanted to do it, it's impossible because the state has such a means of surveillance, such a means of raw, naked power that it simply does not work anymore. But I'm also going to go a little deeper and tell you I am a nonviolent revolutionary because my mama raised me that way. Because my mama taught me that if you want to live in a peaceful world, you got to act peacefully. If you want to end in a peaceful place, you got to conduct yourself that way. You see, that means can never justify the ends because the means are the ends in the making. See, I want to live in a peaceful, just, democratic, and ecologically sustainable society. How about you? We are a movement that is growing, and I want to invite each and every one of you sincerely to please consider joining the Green Party. Join the Green Party at the local level, at the state level, at the national level. Join the Green Party because we aspire to be the electoral arm for the growing movements for peace, justice, democracy, and ecology in this country. See, we aspire to that, but we can't really be that for real unless you
a racist system.
That's right.
Now the difference between Trump and his supporters and us today, they want to build this corrupt system up. And the people right here, we want to tear this system down, this corrupt system down, brick by hypocritical brick. And I'm going to close with this. This is a time to put aside our differences. We got white, black, Asian, Latino, gay, straight.
All right, so we're going to transition over to one other thing from the Progressive Independent Party before we wrap and come back later tonight. This one's actually about an hour long. Depending on what happens, we'll keep the stream going if it's worth it for you guys. And it looks like this might be more of a...
You didn't put together just an anti-Trump rally. You put together one for a positive mission as well. So there's a positive message here. There's a branch for unity. And you have put together one hell of a march here.
Thank you. No, I'm really proud of it. We're not just an anti-Trump, we're not just a resistance. We are here to advance the revolution forward together. We are calling for unity and diversity. So I'm really proud of our diversity. We have our beautiful people of color and our indigenous relatives leading this march, and that's what it should be.
Absolutely. All right. Let me see if I can get some more garbage up here. We got some. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our street! Our street! Our street! Our street! Our street! Our street!
Our streets! 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 Nice job, Peacekeeper! It looks like. This is what democracy 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 looks like.
No, you can't sex my friends who are gay and lesbians. They can't be straight. Why? Just take it straight. Yeah, but you got to get back far enough. Oh, you almost... All right. I have one more of these if you want to wear one.
I got this is me, sir.
Hey, come here, baby. I got to give you a kiss first.
That mixture that I got on there, that one, I could
Oh, yeah.
it's a 96.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Said take your money out of town for.
Take your money out of town for.
Said take your money out of town for.
I said take your money out of town for.
Said take your money out of town for.
Take your money out of town for.
Take your money out of town for.
Said take your money out of town for.
Gonna stop it here and chant for a while. Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! No justice?
No peace.
No justice? No peace! No justice?
No peace.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Shut it down.
If we don't care,
Shut it down.
everywhere we go,
Everywhere we go.
the pigs wanna know
The kids want to know
who we are.
who we are.
So we tell them,
So we tell them
we are the people.
we are the people.
Mighty, mighty people.
The mighty, mighty people.
We are the people.
We are the people.
Mighty, mighty people.
The mighty, mighty
So
people.
the police are trying to shut us down. And what we say to them is this chant. We're going to take it to the streets and fuck the police. We're going to take it to the streets. 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 No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets. No justice. No peace. No peace. Take it to the streets. No justice. No peace. No peace. Take it to the streets. Don't be afraid to say fuck the police. They just elected a motherfucking racist bigot. Now if they can elect a racist bigot, then you can say fuck for a change. You get a pass. Alright, they telling me I'm too militant. But you know, when you invite me, this is what you're gonna get. Because I want you to listen, I'm gonna comply. Because we're in this coalition. But let me tell you something. When I gotta go back to Philadelphia and tell those in the inner city and in the projects that their son who's been murdered by the cop pigs are not gonna get any justice, I really don't give a fuck about respectability politics right now. Okay? Because I have to deal with those mothers in our city. And there are countless of them. And nobody is going to jail. Eric Garner, tell them to that family.
I can't breathe.
Tell it to Eric Garner's family. Tell it to Sandra Bland's family. This is a fucking movement. And yes, there's going to be some peace. But sometimes you got to let these motherfuckers know what time it is.
Hold on. Can you pass the mic?
City by city, block by block, we stand and rock. City by city, block by block,
We stand and rock. City by city, block by block. We stand and rock. City by city, block by block. We stand and rock. City by city, block by block. We stand and rock. City by city, block by block. We stand.
Do you read paper also?
Can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
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 Pipelines. No 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 pipelines.
Yeah!
So for those that might just be tuning in, this was a march earlier today in Washington, D.C. The stream is courtesy of Progressive Independent Party on Facebook, founded by Erica Bloss. And they are also part of the Occupy Inauguration program that's happening over the weekend. On Sunday, they'll be having the Occupy Inauguration Summit. But in the meantime, I'm going to turn on the audio back so you guys can watch the rest of this.
I think that worked.
Tell us, Ian, why are you here?
Why am I here? Good God, why am I here? Everything I care for is under attack. And I got involved in ACT UP 25 years ago. I always had a left lean. For the last 20 plus years, I got pretty comfortable being a Democrat, being a liberal. I meant well. I did a lot of nice things. I donated to liberal causes. I voted nicely. And just shit wasn't adding up for me. I'm marching for all my friends that died of AIDS before me. I very well could be losing my health insurance. I have AIDS for 24 and a half years, so that's pretty scary. The gay and lesbian community, I identify as queer. That group is under attack. I was raised by women. I love women. I have daughters, granddaughters, goddaughters, sisters, nieces, and on and on. I'm here for them. I'm also here for my African-American daughter who converted to Islam. So I pretty much covered all bases. So I want to say hi. Here we go.
Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks
Thank you for your service. 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 Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
Donald Trump. Hey, hey. I was like, hey, hey. Donald Trump.
We need to remember that without people like those guys in uniform, we don't get to exercise our First Amendment right here.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Trump. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Donald Trump. Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
Hey everyone, it's me again. What you're seeing now.
This is actually Eric Albalas, so she was the one recording the demonstration, and she's the founder of Progressive Independent Party, and I believe as well Occupy Inauguration, and she's a big part of it if not. But here is a few words from her.
Is the Occupy Inauguration March. We collaborated with the Disrupt J20 organization, and so we've now met in the middle. So our march has grown substantially, and we've got a whole new slew of people, and it's a beautiful, beautiful sight. This is what democracy looks like. This is what our Constitution allows us to do. We're standing here for the 99%. We're not anti-anybody. We are for corporate money out of politics. We are for no more neoliberals, more right-wingers. We need policies and politicians that represent the 99% of the people. And that's why we're here. We're here for the people, Republicans and Democrats alike. So, all right, so that's what you're seeing, this uniting of DJ20 and Occupy Inauguration. It's a beautiful sight.
United, never be defeated.
Please share this video, share. You know, these are not the things that they'll be showing on corporate media that's run by the elite, the 1%. Please share. We are the media. In this case, the revolution will not be televised. It will be live streamed. So please share.
I heard something. It was a good one.
Okay, so I guess there's some tear gas. I heard a big, I'm gonna stop them from going out that way. Green zone this way. Green zone straight. Green zone is straight. Green zone is straight.
Straight. Yes, straight.
Green zone is straight. That is green zone. Green zone safe? That's not safe. Great, yeah, safe zone. Hey, what just happened? Yeah, no, safe zone.
Yeah, the anarchists are trying to get them to go that way. The anarchists, they're literally running back.
Where are the anarchists?
They're coming from there, trying to get people to go. And I'm trying to get people to go.
Okay, you stay here. No. Go back. Hey, safe zone's that way. You guys, safe zone's that way. Safe zone, get back on the path. Yeah, tear gas.
I feel like I'm putting you in.
They need to go back to the line. Go back to the permit. Go back to the green zone. Safe zone. Green zone's that way. Safe zone's that way. Yeah, this is not the, if you want to be arrested or injured, go that way. This is green, safe.
So it sounds like part of the march got distracted and by other folks that may have possibly been the type of thing that Benjamin Dixon, who had called in earlier, was referring to, that there were people trying to just cause havoc. And so it sounds like some of the people from the K20 and Occupy Inauguration March that was happening, the combined effort that Arakel had mentioned there, sounds like some of them got pulled out of their safe zone, the permit zone. I'll go back so that you can hear what Arakel might be saying now, but it sounds like that's what happened. So she had gone out to try to bring everyone back.
Green is safe zones that way. Yeah, this is not the, if you want to be arrested or injured, go that way. This is green, safe. Safe zone! This way! Tear gas. Green zone, go that way.
Just from like...
Yeah. Safe zones that way, please. This is red zone. That's green zone. All right? You okay? Wait, how should we go back? That's it, girl. It's all of you. It's all you know. Green zone's that way, you know? All right. Don't drag people that don't know. Green zone's that way. Green is zone. If you would. Green zone. Green zone. Get to the green zone. Green zone, please. Come on. Oh, shit. Sorry. The anarchists. Green zone. You guys, green mask up! Unless you want to get injured or arrested, that way's the green zone. Let's go. Green zone! Green zone! Tear gas, let's go! Let's go! Green zone! Don't go that way. get back on, right? Come on, let's go.
Here, Cal.
Yeah.
Hey, we found somebody, an organizer.
We're pulling people away from the danger zone. Let's go. Let's get our march back together. Come on, come on! Come on!
I can see a lot of people.
We're supposed to go over this way. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, we'll get him back. Sorry, guys. I know I'm jittering you. I got you on film, dude. This is non-violent. Non-violent. You're on film. We're not doing that shit. Well, I don't know, but there is. Get in the green zone. Green zone. Green zone. Green zone's that way.
Yep.
Green zone. Green zone. No. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Shanice, Tyler, get back here. Not gonna do it. All right, guys. Green zone. Let's get these guys back. Green zone march. The green zone safe zone's that way. The green zone march is that way. Green zone march, people. Everybody, the green zone safe march is that way. This is tear gas and arrest. Make your choices. I'm the lead organizer of Occupy Inauguration. That's the safe zone. Anarchy, riots.
I think there's some provocateurs there.
Yes,
before you
they
start
pulled our
saying anarchy and riots.
Pulled what?
They're pulling us. Hey, you guys! That's not the safe zone. We're like getting grandmas in with the anarchists.
They're harder than we are.
Come on. You don't want to go. I don't want to go that way.
F the police. I was there.
You're pretty tough. I'm just saying, you do what you want.
Speak for yourself, lady. No, I'm too Irish. I just.
Hey! Well. Red zone, green zone. You guys know that's the red zone. This is the green zone. That's the green zone. This is the red zone. You're gonna arrest it, clear gas, okay? All right.
I got him.
Hey, don't be pulling any more of our people over there.
No, it's got one person, okay? We've got to document this.
Yeah, but you're pulling people. Wait. That's red zone. This is green zone.
Robin!
Get back here. That's red zone. It's not good. Robin! Are you okay? What's wrong?
It's horrible.
I don't know. This is the green zone, hon. Not our march. Come on, let me get you to the green zone.
What's that? I want to wait for my sister over here.
This is the safe, permitted area. This is anarchists.
I'm waiting for my sister.
Okay. It's okay. You'll be okay. You guys know. Holy crap, they're coming. Okay. do know which way is safe. They do know which way is safe. They're choosing to go the other way. Safe zone's that way. Green zone is that way. Yeah, I'm a lead organizer of Occupy Inauguration. They pulled part of our march that way. Our green permitted zone is this way. This is red. This is tear gas. Tear gas. Tear bombs. Yeah. Green! Green zone! Green zone! You guys know that's not the permitted zone, right? Safe zone's that way.
Hey, where's the tear gas?
Yeah, dude. This is our permit right here.
So you can't even walk over there?
They're
All right, folks. So that was the majority of the video coming from Progressive Independent Party, which is associated within, well, I should say Occupy Inauguration is associated within Progressive Independent Party. So that was the end of that long stretch of video. We're going to come back around 9 o'clock, I think, Brandon and myself. This is David doing the production end of the stream. And we'll be back around 9 with whatever else our team in DC, Ben Dixon, Anoa Changa, Michael Salamone, and possibly others send our way, and to comment on what happens for the rest of the day. We'll also be streaming on Saturday and possibly Sunday, so you can definitely watch out for our streams popping up. But we'll be back in about, I would say, just under 3 hours with some more. See you soon.